Miki finally scores a spot at a top Tokyo university and thinks she's on top of the world. But reality hits hard the minute she steps on campus. She notices a clique of students who stand out. The kids in class 3 are confident, polished, and almost too polite. Her classmate Rio tells her they're insiders. They've been at Keio private school since kindergarten, straight through to uni, with families loaded with CEOs or politicians. These are the real elites. Kids like her, who earned their spot through exams, are outsiders. But Miki's ticked off. What's so great about riding family coattails? Making it on your own is the real accomplishment. A little while later, Miki and Rio meet two insiders and go for afternoon tea. Holy crap. A coffee here costs 4,000 yen, half of Miki's monthly living expenses. Listening to them brag about shopping in Hong Kong and yachting in Europe, Miki and Rio feel like fish out of water. All they can do is grind in the library. Only the classroom makes them feel safe. Staring at the drizzly window, Miki thinks about her small hometown. Then a guy asks to borrow her notes, promising to copy them. She hesitates but hands them over, and he never returns them. Sophomore year, Miki gets a call from her mom. Miki's dad loses his job, and the family can't afford her tuition. She tries to plead her case, but her mom snaps, "Stop being selfish. We need to live too." Miki has no choice but to take a job as a hostess at a nightclub. It doesn't last. By junior year, she drops out. The club becomes her first real job, and she sticks with it for years. Then, at 25, one night while working, she spots a familiar face, Kengo, a guy she thinks she lent notes to once. They hit up a dive bar to talk, but he doesn't remember her at all. Miki lets it go, but it stings. Anyway, since I dropped out, glad I could help you pass a class or something. I never should have been in that school anyway. They fall into a weird rhythm, half friends, half lovers, but never defining it. They click when together, leave each other alone when apart. And yeah, Kengo's part of that old insider crowd. So this is how the other half lives, huh? Kengo pulls some strings and gets Miki a gig in event planning. No sweat. She does it for 4 years but still can't afford Tokyo rent. Then comes the 10-year high school reunion. Miki considers going home, but her dad flips when she mentions taking a taxi. Why waste money? Watching him hawk a loogie into the sink, she loses half her desire to go. At the reunion, it's all awkward smiles and dead air. Miki and Rio go way back to high school and college, but after Miki dropped out, Rio moved home. Rio's family had money, but her brother got it all. Now she wants to start over in Tokyo. Why leave? She nods at a classmate, a loud, boozy third gen of the local construction racket. This town's corrupt and cutthroat. You can't even start a business without stepping in crap. Tokyo's worse, but it's so big. Most people burn out before they hit the bad parts. Third gen plops down next to Miki. Miki wants to laugh. Dudes, shameless, using daddy's connections to hit on her. She's a big city girl. She blows him off. But in a small town, those connections are everything. People have to play ball to survive. That's why he's bold. Someone always does. Not Miki, though. Her hometown's off the table. Kengo texts, "Come to this cocktail party next week." At the party, Miki works the room. Everyone's a potential client. A violinist plays and Miki watches her snag a macaron, hiding it behind a rose. Cute, she thinks, so she chats her up. "I plan events. We could use someone like you." Reaching for her card, she realizes she's out, so she borrows one from Kengo and scribbles her deets. The violinist's face freezes. Weird. Next day, she invites Miki to a fancy restaurant, just like that 4,000 yen tea spot from college. Miki's having a good time until the violinist drops a nuclear truth. Newsflash, you're the side chick. Turns out, Kengo's engaged to Hanako, a friend, and she's on her way. Remember, Miki and Kengo's had this lingering thing for a decade, but the violinist waves it off. Not here to fight. Guys are trash, we know. Using her dad's messy love life as proof, she says, women shouldn't tear each other down over this. She just wants her friend to understand Kengo better. Enter Hanako, born into old money, polite to a fault. Almost 30, she's had bad dates, like New Year's Eve, when family waited for her fiancé, and only she showed up. Grandma's fuming. Mom's already pushing a new guy. Meet Dr. Fujisawa's hotshot assistant, just back from the US. Marry him, and he can run our hospital. Mom's all about that 2-for-1 deal. Eldest sister married wrong, daughter divorced a doctor, so Hanako's gotta land a doc. Hanako's family is breathing down her neck to get married, so she reluctantly goes on blind dates. The first guy's a doctor in a suit that doesn't fit, stumbling over his words like he's never talked to a woman before. Nice guy, sure, but he's got the dating experience of a middle schooler, and Hanako's ready to settle down now. Next, her sister sets her up with a smooth-talking elite who's done partying and wants to settle, but he's too slick, too calculating, and clearly not done with his playboy lifestyle. 2 strikes, and the family lowers the bar. Just find someone nice and ambitious, fast. Hanako half-heartedly agrees to a setup by her nail tech, meeting the guy at a noisy izakaya. He's a loud, ordinary guy, and the chaos feels vulgar to her. When she spills drink on her dress and runs to the bathroom, the grimy toilet shocks her. This is the real world she can't imagine living in. She bolts. As her sister said, the ordinary ones are the hardest to find. No standards is the highest standard. 3 failed dates later, Hanako tries to unwind with friends, but it only makes her feel worse. Hanako's friends are all married, pregnant, or engaged. Only Shizuka, the violinist, is single, and she's married to her craft. Don't rush it, Shizuka says, but Hanako's adrift. Then her brother-in-law sets her up with Kengo, a polished young lawyer. 4th time's the charm. Kengo's polite, composed, perfect. Every word, every smile feels deliberate, but in a good way. He treats her with respect, listens like she matters, and Hanako falls fast.
また会っていただけますか?
もちろん。
Their dates are straight out of a fairy tale. Luxury cars, vacation villas, family heirlooms. When she asks about his family, he says vaguely,
ざっくり言うと流通業かな。
Turns out, his clan's ancient money, shipping magnates since the Edo period, now deep in politics. Living in Tokyo's posh Minato ward, Keio, to University of Tokyo grad, he's Japan's 1% of the 1%. Shizuka tells her, this is your best shot. You're not like those girls who scrape their way up from nowhere. Soon later, Hanako says yes to the proposal. Hanako stumbles upon flirty texts from another woman on Kengo's phone and chooses to look the other way. Kengo's all about marriage as a duty, so he takes her back to his family's hometown. In crowded Tokyo, the gap between ordinary folks and old money is stark. Kengo's estate is massive, immaculate, with ancestral scrolls and a shrine. This is how elites do home. To enter, Hanako has to kneel, introduce herself formally, and shuffle to her seat only when allowed. Nailing the etiquette earns her points with the family. Kengo's grandfather runs the show, his uncle is the heir apparent, and his dad plays second fiddle. But as the only male grandchild, Kengo's the golden boy, groomed by his senator uncle for politics. After sizing up Hanako's manners, grandfather says, "We've reviewed your background. Welcome to the family." With the clan's blessing, their wedding plans roll forward. Shizuka is shocked to catch Kengo canoodling with another woman and orchestrates a meeting between Hanako and Miki, forcing Hanako to face the truth about her cheating fiancé. Miki can only promise never to see Kengo again. After years of their on-again, off-again thing, she admits, "I don't hate him, but I don't really know him either." Their relationship was just moments, never depth. As a thank you, Hanako gives Miki tickets to a Hinadol exhibition, thinking it might help her event business. Miki's never heard of it. Apparently, it's a centuries-old tradition for wealthy families like the Mitsui clan, showcasing heirloom dolls for Girls' Day. It's a world Miki's never been part of, and she realizes how different she is from Hanako and Kengo. She cuts ties for good, even though Kengo protests.
この10年間、小一郎が一番の友達だったから。
Later, Miki vents to Rio, who gets it all too well. "We're just fuel for this city's engine." They laugh it off. No bitterness, just 2 women who've grown up. Rio hops on the back of Miki's bike, and the winter wind feels gentle for once. After a decade of chasing dreams and hitting walls, they're finally embracing life's simplicity. When Rio asks Miki to join her startup, she says yes. "We'll make our own wind, forge our own path." Meanwhile, Hanako marries Kengo in a grand ceremony, their families posing for stiff portraits. Right after, Kengo is whisked away by his uncle. Weddings are prime networking for politics after all. Hanako settles into marital life, pressured by friends and in-laws to get pregnant. But Kengo's grandfather dies before seeing a great-grandchild. Hanako sees her husband only once a month. She craves his love, wishes he'd open up about his worries, dreams, anything. But Kengo just shrugs. "You think I have dreams? I'm just here to inherit the family business. That's not a dream, it's just what we do. Like how you married me because it was time, and I was convenient." One day, Hanako spots Miki on the street.
Miki-san!
She chases her to a tiny apartment. Warm yellow lights, cluttered shelves, no fancy family portraits, just messy life photos.
こんなひどい部屋って初めてなんじゃない？いえ、 すごく落ち着きます。
That night she walks home instead of taking a cab, lingering on a bridge where two girls laugh and wave at her. For the first time, she sees a life not defined by status, a life about her, not her family name. She files for divorce. Both families panic, but Kengo's clan cares more about reputation than happiness. So the split is quiet, bloodless. A year later, Hanako joins Shizuka for a violin gig in a far suburban community center. Suddenly, someone calls out to Hanako. It's Kengo.
どうして？
ここ選挙区だから。
A year later, her ex-husband is deep in politics, running for office independently. Hanako has a new life too, managing Shizuka's music career. That night, during the performance, she stands on a staircase and locks eyes with Kengo on the second floor. They share a faint, bittersweet smile. Meanwhile, Miki and Ryo's agency thrives, built on the skills and connections they've fought to earn. After wrapping a project, they snap photos of each other, grinning. When they turn to look at Tokyo's skyline, it's unchanged, still glittering, still stratified, but it doesn't matter. They've built lives on their own terms. Aristocrats, 2021, is a masterclass in quiet storytelling, peeling back the layers of class and gender in modern Japan through Miki and Hanako's journeys. It's a film that makes you see your struggles in theirs. If you loved this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into more hidden gems next time. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.